we've been hearing a lot of reports about Kamala Harris being involved in some sort of a automobile accident that ultimately paralyzed a young girl. The story of the day is Kamala Harris allegedly hitting a 13-year-old girl with her car and then fleeing the scene, essentially a hit and run. The girl underwent multiple surgeries and was left paralyzed. Kamala Harris's handlers apparently threatened the mother to not tell anyone what happened. But what we're being told is that this is not a true story. I'm going to let you guys be the judge of this. Is this a hoax? Because there are reports coming out now that this may be a hoax. As you can see here, Kamala Harris's running mate is also a closet drunk. There are many rumors that have been coming out that Kamala Harris has got a serious drinking problem, showing up to her rallies, meetings, drunk, under the influence, or possibly even high. Although Kamala Harris has sent numerous individuals to jail, prison time, for having marijuana, weed, and other minor controlled substances on them.
It happened on the evening of June 7th, 2011, when Alicia and her mother were heading home. A car driving the wrong way down a one-way street headed towards the women crossing the road and hit one of them. The event was forever imprinted in Alicia's memory. After 13 years, she finally decided to share the shocking details about the accident and its culprit.
Well, it happened on the corner of Post Street and Jones Street. Me and my mom were walking.
Now, guys, regardless of the details of this story, this is very sad. I mean, granted, these are all allegations. This is not proven that Kamala Harris was involved in this accident with this young girl. But what have you guys heard about this? I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about this particular situation. I wasn't there. Many people are coming out. I was doing a lot of Google searches, and they're saying that this was this is a hoax and that this is not true. But then other people are saying that they're just saying that it's a hoax so that it doesn't hurt Kamala Harris's presidential election chances. So I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on this? Will this have any impact on your decision for, your thoughts on Kamala Harris as a person? Even if it's not Kamala Harris, what kind of person would hit a girl like that, right? With their car and be heading in the wrong direction on a one-way road? It makes you wonder, why would someone be driving down the road in the wrong direction? Like, what would be going through their mind? The first thing that comes to mind is, were they drinking, right? And did the person stop? Now, a lot of people who have a conscience would stop. Some people would say, well, I don't want my car insurance rates to go up. I don't want to, I don't know if I don't want to be sued, so some folks would be worried about their car insurance rates going up, maybe losing their license, kind of like how, not Kamala Harris, but kind of like how Fannie Willis's daughter got pulled over recently and ultimately arrested. She got pulled over originally for having for using her cell phone while driving. And then once they pulled her over, they realized, hey, you have a expired or suspended license. So obviously your car insurance rates are going to go through the roof. You're going to probably have to hire a defense attorney. It's a big, huge mess. You'd have to hire like a defense attorney to get you, out of jail, or at least to get your license back. So it creates a massive problem. Good luck landing a job. Like if you do Uber or Lyft or DoorDash, any of those kinds of side hustles, they might not even let you be able to work for them. Forget about being able to drive for companies like FedEx, UPS, any kind of, maybe you'd never be able to get a CDL license. And if you did get a CDL driver's license to drive one of those big semi rigs, what kind of company would want to hire you with that on your record? So it creates a huge financial mess for everyone, let alone this horrible, heartbreaking, life-changing situation for the girl. I mean, here you have a girl who I think she says she's 14 years old, ends up being paralyzed. I'm sorry. There's no amount of insurance settlement. I don't care if it's $1 million, $10 million, $100 million settlement. There's no amount of money that's going to give her her life back. What do you guys think about that? Is there and I want to ask you guys, is there any amount of money that you could be paid to make you be okay after being paralyzed in a car accident? And just think about her mom. Her mom is forever, her life has changed forever. Her daughter will always be dependent on her. So it's just really a bad situation. Again, you know, these are allegations. I don't know if this is actually Kamala Harris. And again, you know, like I said, there's a lot of stories out here about what really happened. So I want to know what you guys think. Just comment down below. Just type in true or false if you think Kamala Harris was involved in this. Let's get back to the story.
Down a one-way street, headed towards the women crossing the road, and hit one of them. The event was forever imprinted in Alicia's memory. After 13 years, she finally decided to share the shocking details about the accident and its culprit.
Well, it happened on the corner of Post Street and Jones Street. Me and my mom were walking home from a movie theater after watching Pirates of the Caribbean. It was getting late and we hurried home because my mom had to wake up early for her work. As I remember, we were crossing the road and out of nowhere a car came out from behind a parked van. We were not expecting this because there is only one-way traffic on Post Street, so we were not expecting anyone to drive from that direction. The car was rushing in the opposite lane and my mom reacted quickly and jumped back. She tugged my arm, but she was too late to save me. And the driver also hit the brake, but it was also too late. I was just hit in the side and thrown into the road. I fell on the curb and it hit my back.
This is obviously a horrendous story about this young girl having been paralyzed. And her mom, unfortunately, had to witness this entire thing, but she has to live with this for the rest of her life. Now, this is being reported here, as you guys can see here, that this has been reported as a fake story. You know, there's a lot of conflict. Let's just say there's a lot of conflict about the validity of this story, about this young lady being paralyzed by Kamala Harris's hit and run. Now, I'm just sharing the information with you guys. I can't validate if this is a legitimate situation. We don't have any reports from Kamala Harris on this one yet. So I think that I think it's something that needs to be further investigated. So is this a hoax? Is this a fake story? Or is this a legitimate situation and ultimately a cover-up by Biden, by Kamala Harris, by Tim Walz, by the Harris-Walz campaign? That is a big mystery at this point. So I'm going to let you guys be the judge. Please leave me a comment down below. Is this a hoax? Or leave me a comment down below if you think that this is real, or if you think that this is a fake, or do you think that this is a cover-up? Unbelievable, guys. Kamala Harris's motorcade crash leaves the scene in chaos. You got blood and bones everywhere. The VP completely abandons the victims. You got Tim Walz's staff, but they're not the only ones that are dealing with abandonment issues at this time, guys. In fact, Tim Walz's entire family just abandoned him to support Donald J. Trump. That's right, guys. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign was involved in a violent crash, but a lot of people are asking, was this a hit and run accident? No. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, they were not directly involved in this accident, but they just kept going and they didn't even bother looking back at their staff that was involved in this accident that left a lot of people injured. broken bones, blood everywhere. Tim Walz gets on stage and pretends to care about his entire team involved in his crash, guys. But guess what? Then Tim Walz loses it after his brother convinces his entire family to turn their backs on him and to support Donald J. Trump instead. Now, hey guys, before we get started, please take a second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for sharing this video. Command Sergeant Major Tim Walz has done it again, guys. He has again abandoned his own as vans carrying press and staffers were involved in a violent car crash. Now, I want you guys to realize that politics has a lot of optics embedded into it. And scenes like this is not a good look for any political campaign.
About slamming the brakes on that.
To make matters even worse, Kamala Harris's running mate didn't even stop to check on the people there. They simply drove away because apparently it wasn't their problem.
Before a campaign event involving Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz in Milwaukee, two vehicles in the governor's motorcade collided. One of those vehicles was carrying staff members and members of the press pool. Some people in that van were taken to a nearby hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Governor Walz was not involved in that wreck.
That's right, guys. The governor was right in front of the accident, so they weren't affected by it at all. Even though, as you heard, staffers of both Harris and Walz were involved here. Now, I also want to ask about the injuries that these people had suffered. It's correct to say that they were not life-threatening injuries. However, it doesn't mean that they weren't bad. One staff member who was treated by paramedics broke their arm. Multiple reporters had scrapes and bruises, with one male reporter getting a bloody nose and a female reporter who's feared to have suffered a concussion. That last one was supposedly taken to urgent care because those things can kind of spiral out of control real quickly. At this point, we're not being told what caused the accident. Some suggest that these drivers may have been inexperienced or, even worse, DEI hires. And guys, before we get started, I just want to thank y'all so much for smashing the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and sharing this video. Let's get started. So here's what the governor had to say about this entire situation.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you, Rich. Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Good afternoon, neighbors. First off, let me say, some of you might have heard, some of my staff and members of the press that were traveling with us were involved in a traffic accident on the way here today. We've spoken with the staff. I'm relieved to say that with a few minor injuries, everybody's going to be okay. So, thank you. President Biden and Vice President Harris called to check in, and we certainly appreciate their concern. And I want to express my sincere thanks to the U.S. Secret Service and all the local first responders for their quick reaction to help. So on behalf of the Vice President, myself, and our entire campaign, we're grateful for your work today and every day. Thank you. Happy Labor Day, folks. I have to tell you, I can't think of a better way to spend it than at Labor Fest.
Wait, did I hear him right? He got a call from the president and vice president so that they can check on him and the staff? That sounds good and all, but what would he know given that his car drove away from the crash? And we're supposed to believe that he's the next vice president of this country, that he cares about working Americans and that they'll do what's best for the middle class? Because that's the message that's being brought to Milwaukee.
The goals in Project 2025 are clear. It should be subtitled, How to Screw the Working People.
At Laborfest in Milwaukee, a fiery Governor Tim Walz said it is the Harris-Walz ticket that will best represent union workers' interests, including their health care.
We, Vice President Harris, myself, and everyone here believes that you should be free to make your own health care decisions, not politicians.
Earlier at Twin Cities International, the governor and first lady met with local labor leaders. Both Walzes are former teachers and members of Minnesota Education, something that union's president takes to heart.
At a time when there's an educator shortage, at a time when morale is at an all-time low, to see a teacher elevated this way, he's one of us, and it means everything.
But in recent years, union members have been drifting away from the Democratic Party. The president of the Minnesota Building Trades Council says Democrats need to work to get them back.
Our membership has changed, right? It used to be we would tell them who we wanted them to vote for and they would vote. Now we have to make the case, right? We can't just take it for granted.
Democratic analyst Abu Amara agrees Democrats cannot take the labor vote for granted.
Unions still do the performance of politics. And what I mean is knocking on doors, making phone calls, dropping off literature. Unions play an important role in the campaign infrastructure.
This really calls into question the character of both Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. While we understand that they're on schedule for most of these engagements, it wouldn't hurt to show just a little bit of compassion when possible. And to be honest, guys, this isn't the first vehicular accident that's happened within their campaign.
Savannah Police Corporal David Bates is here at Memorial Health recovering after losing control of his motorcycle and crashing. But this isn't his first wreck on the job. SPD officials say it happened on 5/16, Wednesday evening around 7. Bates was on his department-issued motorcycle, attached to the Kamala Harris Tim Walz motorcade, returning to Savannah from Liberty County High School. At some point, and police officials don't say why, Bates lost control of the motorcycle. That single vehicle crash left the corporal with serious injuries. The Secret Service, tasked with protecting the vice president, says the accident didn't affect the motorcade and wishes Bates a speedy recovery. Police Chief Lenny Gunther echoing that statement, saying the department will be with Bates, quote, every step of the way.
And since we talked about their character just a second ago, one person that's really close to Tim Walz is saying that his ideology is flawed, even going so far as to say that he isn't the kind of person who should be making decisions about America's future. Now, this was declared by Tim's older brother, Jeff Walz, who says that he's 100% opposed to all of his brother's ideologies. Now, to make news even worse, again, this is Tim Walz's brother ratting him out. To make matters worse, Jeff is said to be contemplating a public endorsement of former President Donald Trump for his White House run instead of his own brother. How's that for a slap in the face for Tim Walz? In a response to someone asking him to get on stage with the former president, the older Walz responded by saying, "I've thought long and hard about doing something like that. I'm torn between that and just keeping my family out of it." Although it does look like their family has been detached from Tim's political ambitions, as Jeff admitted on Facebook that they haven't spoken in 8 years. Wow. Tim Walz, who is running to lead the country, to lead the United States, hasn't even spoken to his own brother in 8 years, much less minimal communication with the press. He added that they weren't informed or even given notice that he was going to be selected as Kamala Harris's running mate. They were also denied security days after the fact. Now, as far as I know, guys, this isn't being covered by mainstream media. I wonder why. But the second a Kennedy goes after RFK Jr., they put it all over the news, which really shows you guys who these people are really working for. They're not working to inform the American people. To be perfectly honest with you guys, I'm not even surprised. I mean, nobody should be surprised by what this young lady said. She just woke up. That's what happened. For the first time after joining the Democratic Party, she's using her own brain and she went from woke to awake. You know what I mean? And honestly, who can blame her when the party she supported her whole life basically ejected the candidate who legitimately got the primary votes, Biden? And then they decided on their own to place Kamala Harris at the top of the Democratic ticket. The same Kamala Harris who's largely responsible for the dire situation in San Francisco right now. Granted, guys, these were high schoolers, but of course they're not kids, so there's no reason to speak to them in such a manner. She also has to realize that Mike Pence and Donald Trump are two completely different individuals. I don't think that she knows what she's asking for with hot mics in a debate. I'm really not sure her own team realizes that the last guy that they put in front of Donald Trump had to quit his political career because he got embarrassed on national television. But mainstream media and her allies are saying that Donald Trump doesn't want any of this smoke.
When I talked to you the night that that Joe Biden decided he was no longer going to seek the nomination, you basically said that Trump is scared of a tough woman. A tough woman scares him. Do you think that's what's going on here?
Oh, I think Trump is really afraid of Kamala Harris, or as I like to think of it, the felon is really afraid of the prosecutor, and for damn good reason. She's smart, she's disciplined, and she's not afraid of a bully. So there it is. Donald Trump is scared, and I got to say, I think his whole team is scared. And that's why they're trying to find ways to muzzle him, to make this debate not happen if possible. Because Kamala Harris, she's going to wipe the floor with Donald Trump.
And yet it's Harris's team that wants to put in changes to what they've already agreed upon. Remember that this was initially set up to be Biden versus Trump. There's no reason to change the rules when you've already gone ahead and changed the nominee. You already have the upper hand since Donald Trump's team has had to adjust to Kamala Harris. And she's been talking all this smack and saying that he's scared to debate her and all that, which means that they were surprised when he agreed to ABC News. Josh Dawsey posted on X regarding this dilemma about the debate. He said that the VP's camp is not accepting the rules from ABC News. Now, again, guys, the same rules that would have been in place if President Joe Biden was still in the race. Now, her account responded to this by saying that Donald Trump's advisors are not allowing him to debate with Kamala Harris if the mics are live. She further states that if his team doesn't have confidence in him, then the American people shouldn't as well. Now, guys, I think it's pretty easy to say that these are just excuses when you remember the fact that Donald he's pretty quick on his feet when it comes to arguments.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know you're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real
principled.
tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3. So
Doesn't matter.
far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better. You know, you started off over here, Jeb. You're moving over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the end.
This doesn't do a thing to solve the problem.
One at a time.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Although Donald Trump, he can go off the handle a little bit with these debates. I'll give her that. And that's what Harris is hoping for. It's also likely that this is why she's pissed at ABC News, because they're not dropping to their knees and giving her everything she wants. Now, some of you guys may already be aware, but her demands to change the rules of the debate, they have already been rejected. Now, this could open up a path where Kamala Harris's team will pretty much just up and say, hey, you know, we're not doing this debate because Donald Trump can't handle a hot mic. Now, I'm fairly certain Donald Trump doesn't care as much about this entire mic issue as much as Kamala Harris does, because they can just do the ABC News debate as they agree on another debate with mics turned on. It's literally just that simple. But not if you're planning to do only one debate. Now, as far as we're being told, Kamala Harris will not agree to any other debate dates other than this one, which now brings me to Don Lemon and how he may actually be working for our best interest after all. Now, guys, I did a previous video where I talked about this kind of interviews that Don Lemon has been doing lately. And surprisingly, he's been showing voters that primarily want Trump back in office. Does this mean that Don Lemon has finally woken up to reality? I'm gonna let y'all decide on that. Just check out the video, click on my channel, hit the videos tab and check that video out next. Make sure you guys, this is wild stuff. This is wild stuff. I got to go through some of these comments because the comments are so live right now. Everybody hit the like button right now. Get the truth out here, folks. Donald Trump 2024 takes it. I'm telling you guys. And here's a theory that I have. Remember the Donald Trump assassination attempt in Pennsylvania that they're trying to hide? They're trying to sweep under the rug as if it never happened. Think about this, guys. There's a reason for everything. And I personally think that took place in Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is such a key swing state for both Democrats and for Republicans. So if you can take him out there permanently, I think that would have been plan A. Plan B, well, since he survived, they thought that this would have scared Donald Trump away from even coming back to do any more rallies or debates in Pennsylvania. That is, to me, why they tried to do what they tried to do. But what do you guys think about this? But now, again, you know, this whole situation here, it's scary and it's wild how much news is coming out, how much dirt is coming out about the Democrats, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris. These folks, I don't think that they can hide all of the dirt that is just coming out. Like, it's just crazy. Here's the other thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but even CNN, and we kind of saw this before Biden dropped out of the election, they kind of forced him out, right? But we're starting to see CNN have less and less support for Kamala Harris. So I'm wondering, are they planning on pulling Kamala Harris out of this election too? Are they going to put Joe Biden back in? I mean, there's all sorts of rumors that are coming out. But let me know what you guys think about this. We got, let's see, that lady that talk good about Harris being great is so ignorant. Hey, is anybody getting an echo here? Some Patriot Rob said that we got an echo in here, so hopefully we don't have an echo. Catherine Brandon says, I guarantee there was more nefarious stuff involved in that crash. I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest with you. Let's see. Kathy Block says CNN is going broke. They're just trying to improve their ratings. Benjamin St. John, seeing what I'm seeing. Benjamin says that the memory hole, the assassination attempt. Yeah, it's real dirty what's happening out there. Sandra Ford says Kamala knows all about dropping to her knees. Oh my goodness. I can only imagine what you mean by that, Sandra. Oh man. But and this was a setup. Did you guys see the setup too? How Elizabeth Warren tried to okay, so Lug says no echo. Diamonds and Ruby says echo on my side. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But did you guys pick up on what Elizabeth Warren had said? I saw this coming. So basically, Kamala Harris used to be the district attorney for California. And we all know how poorly run California's been run over there by Governor Gavin Newsom. Massive homeless problem, free healthcare for illegal immigrants. They're giving away like $100 grand for illegal immigrants who want to invest in real estate over there. I mean, it's just crazy. Catalia says there's no echo on her end. Appreciate you, girly. Everybody give a big shout out to Catalia. She always helps me out in the lives. Now, the thing though is great show. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate you, or Brian. Appreciate you, brother. The thing though is I kind of felt like this might happen. Kamala Harris being the district attorney or former district attorney for California, which really irks me when you think about all of the things she's been involved in. All of these folks that have been sent to jail for like weed, and you know, they asked her if she smokes weed and all she did was laugh, which is almost an admission of guilt. She's the kind of person that would send somebody to jail for doing the same things that she does behind closed doors. I don't like that. That's a double standard. And I feel like, you know, I don't know if you believe in God, but I feel like God will severely punish people who do things like that. That's what I personally believe. But the other thing I was going to say is I kind of saw this coming. They wanted to get Donald Trump convicted of a felony. They wanted to convict him so that they can basically call him a felon, number one, and they're doing that. But number two, they wanted Kamala Harris to be able to go against Donald Trump so that they can also say, you know, the felon is going against the DA. And this is exactly what Elizabeth Warren just executed on during that little brief interview. But anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off. Happy Friday to everyone in the live. We got almost 1,300 people in this live. That is a beast. I want to thank all of you guys for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you, all of you guys, for hitting the join button and becoming members of the channel. I really appreciate you guys. Again, happy Friday. Comment down below where you guys are watching from. We have a massive election coming up in less than 9 weeks. And I promise you guys, this is easily the most important election of our lifetimes. And it's going to be really interesting to see the direction that our country goes from this point forward. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Awesome. Susanna Valenzuela. I completely butchered your name. Delano, California. We got Jay Bahana from Texas. We got Janita Sherrod, Huntsville, Alabama. Ghostwriter, Arizona. Great live show from Commie, Connecticut. Appreciate you, Pat Walsh. Anyway, guys, appreciate the love. You guys are absolutely phenomenal supporters and seekers of the truth. I'm going to keep bringing y'all the truth. I'll see y'all soon.